Hey, it's Matt. Welcome back. I know it's been a while, but I finally had a chance to get out, get to some garage sales, did a couple of thrift store stops. I have a couple of auctions coming up, and I have an antique store find that I'll do at the end of this video. That'll come with a little PSA about cleaning screwdrivers and what not to do. So you're going to learn from my mistakes. So let's take a look at this garage sale stuff here. We have two different garage sales. We have these sockets here on the rails and in the cases. That's from one garage sale. I paid 50 bucks for this stuff, so I think the bulk of that's going to be right in here. So we have some impact socket sets, standard half-inch drive, 6-point. What do we got up here? A 1 inch down to 7/16, I think, and that came with this bonus little SK 7/16. That does not belong in that case, so that's a nice little 3/8 drive impact socket, so we'll keep that out right there. And I think this did go down to, I think it's 7/16. I can't read that, can you? It looks like that's what it says. So missing maybe a 3/8 in there. I think I have a 3/8 no name Chrome V impact socket that I can throw in there to fill in that set. We also have this kind of interesting little Illinois industrial tool little socket set, half-inch drive, 12-point. It's got somebody's NB on there. I don't know, Ned Beatty, who knows who that was, but it's on every socket, and it's large and in your face, so that kind of isn't that great. But these look like they've never been used. They're in really good shape. They're in the case, so they're Japan. So I don't know, maybe I could get $5 for those, maybe $5 for those. I don't know. Let's just say those are just, not worth too much. So if I paid 50 bucks, is this worth 25 and this worth 25? I think so. Let's take a look here. Got a whole row of SK sockets, and I don't know, they're kind of newer. Maybe they're 90s. I'd say maybe around that era, except for this one is a Wayne on the end there, so that's kind of the outlier. We have a couple other outliers in here that don't belong in here. We got this cool Sparta 9/16, and I think in my last video, I think the last video was a Vice restoration, but the video before that, someone commented that Sparta was made by New Britain, and I appreciate that info. It does kind of look like that. It's got the two lines in front of it, kind of like the Husky from that era. I think Husky used this kind of numbering system as well, so that would make sense that it would be made by New Britain. So that's a cool Sparta socket. I think it was a spark plug socket that I had in the other video, but anyway, we got two Napa USAs here, 15/16, a 12-point and a 6-point, so that's cool, and a Master Mechanic 7/8, and that's a USA socket as well, and that kind of looks like the Stanley numbering, if I'm not mistaken. So that Master Mechanic USA might have been made by Stanley. And let's take a look down inside of these sockets, because it's they're not all the same, all the deep sockets. You can see the shelf here, how that's shallow on all of these SKs. And then if you get to these Napa ones, there's no shelf at all. It goes all the way down into there. And then same with that Master Mechanic, all the way down. And so if you're wondering, why do I need so many sockets? Well, they're not all the same. That one's shallow. Let's take a look at these impacts, see what they're at down there. That one's about 3/4 of the way down there. So does that matter? Yeah, in some instances it does make a difference. If you're working with like exhaust and you have some studs sticking out of there and you don't have a lot of room, you're going to want a socket that doesn't have that shelf, all the way up here, because that means that nut, if you stick that nut on there and you get that socket up in there, you might not have the room to do that. So you might need to shove that nut all the way down in the socket in order to get that socket around that stud to get that in there. So there's different cases and different instances where you may want or not want that shelf on there. Sometimes it helps you out that that shelf is on there. It holds that nut right there. You don't want it to drop all the way down into there. You want it to stay up here. In most cases that is the case, but every once in a while you might need one where it drops all the way down into there. So just keep that in mind if you're buying sockets. If you're just like tooling around and stuff and working on your car, as a hobby, it may not matter so much. Just get whatever is available. But if you're like a master mechanic, those are probably things that you look at and have multiple different rows of sockets for that reason. So anyway, let's get on with this. Let's take a look at this strip here of, oh, and I forgot to say, this strip that this one is on, this rail, that's a Craftsman rail, and it's in really good shape. So that alone is worth something. That's a vintage Craftsman rail, and the rubber is really nice. The rail is really nice. Couple little pits in there from some rust, but I did take these sockets off, and it does say Craftsman down in there, so that's a score as well, and it's on its own right there, not to mention the sockets that are on it. So let's take a look at this one. This rail, I think I pulled the sockets off and there's nothing written on it, so just a generic rail, but on it is some Proto metric impact sockets, a 21, an 18, a 17, a 16, I think that's a 15, and I think we go 13, 11, 10, 9, and 8. 6-point impact Proto sockets, so those are pretty cool. I think that's worth 25 bucks. It's got to be. It's a Proto impact socket set, so I think I did pretty good. 50 bucks for all of this stuff. I'm gonna have to look into these Illinois industrial tools. I know they're Japanese tools, so I don't know, but it's pretty cool that it has that tag still in there and it's in good shape. I mean, it was $29.60 back in the day, so it's got to be worth something now, I would think. All right, let's get to the other rummage sale. So 50 bucks there. Other rummage sale, what do you think? I got these sockets, these 2 wrenches, screwdriver, hex key, and these 2 wrenches over here. I think I did pretty good because I only paid 4 bucks for all of that stuff. So I just grabbed all these tools and said, what do you want? And she said 4 bucks. So I handed her the money and walked away. So let's take a look at these sockets here. These are all Penens. So Penens, and we're going to take a look right here at this. We're going to come back to this later, the manufactured USA. We're going to talk about that a little later here. But that one's got the shamrock there, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. I always say, oh, it's got the shamrock or it's got the star on it, and that just indicates where the detent is when you put that on, your ratchet or whatever. But other companies, some companies do it differently. Thorson, I think I got a Thorson. That one does a little dot on it. The Protos, sometimes they have that star on there. Sometimes it's just a hole drilled through, like these have a hole drilled through. If they don't have anything at all, they either don't have the detents in there at all, or they have them in every flat inside of there. These sockets right here don't have any detent at all in them, so that kind of sucks if you wanted to use these sockets. So I don't know if those are really worth anything. I wouldn't use them. I've had issues with sockets flying off of there before. I don't like it. But anyways, Penens, these are all Penens. This one is interesting because it says Challenger Penens on it. So these are all part of kind of the Proto family, I believe. Those two aren't in that great a shape cosmetically, but same thing, Penens with the clover on there. We have ourselves a Electrolyte 11/16 5/8, nothing too special. It's a true fit. And then we have this Thorson, manufactured USA. Again, we'll come back to that when we get to that last wrench over there. 9/16 1/2" box wrench. A little rusty, but not in bad shape. This screwdriver is cool, different shape. It looks kind of like a Stanley shape to it. 41301, the WF. So I think this is kind of a pretty rare screwdriver. I don't see these at all that often. So that's kind of cool. I'll have to look that one up. Just kind of caught my eye. Just a different shape. It's a shame that it's all yellowed. But I'd imagine it was a clear at one time. We have this Bondus 3/8. You can barely read the Bondus on there, but I saw the little ball ends on there and I knew instantly that was a Bondus. It says Bondus in between there somewhere. 3/8, but I've used Bondus pretty much my whole life, and they're really good quality. So I figured I'd snag that up. This wrench is really cool, 19mm fleet. So it's definitely a nice wrench in really nice shape. Just a little bit of surface rust on it, but doesn't look like it's ever been used. Flats are really nice. And maybe that combo end was used once. I don't know. That's hard to tell. That was really cool, but my favorite wrench is this mystery wrench over here, which I think I kind of have the mystery pegged, but we'll give you a second to, ponder this. No markings on it for a manufacturer, but we can deduct things from the way that the wrench is, and I usually start with the writing on it, see if we can figure out what it is. But let's take a look at these ends here. Doesn't look like this thing has ever been used. It's in really good shape. Look at that thing. Some surface rust on it. It should clean up fairly well. Looks like it's got some just rash on it from rolling around in a toolbox. But have you thought about it? What do you think? Who do you think made that? Now, the MFD USA can give us a couple of clues. Usually it's either Thorson or Proto, anything Proto, Fleet, Challenger, Penens, as you saw, that has that MFD USA on it. But I don't think it's a Thorson. I don't think it's a Proto. I think this is either a Challenger or a Fleet, just because of the 4-digit number and it's starting with the 6. The only two wrenches that I ever found that's had that 6 series were some Challenger wrenches that I have and some Fleet wrenches that I have. So that's what I think that is. But that's definitely still kind of a little mystery. Anybody else have any thoughts on it, what they think? I don't have any Challenger or Fleet box wrenches, so I can't compare them. The molding and not finishing, not rounding this off. Usually this end is rounded off and it's polished on their combination wrenches. As you can see with this Fleet, they polished off the seam there. You can kind of see it coming through right here, and see where they start to polish it. So, and also this is very sharp edge here, which I don't like, but this one's more rounded. But I don't know, I would say Challenger or Fleet. Anyway, let's get moving. Let's take a look at that antique store find, and then I'll come back and do these wrap-ups. Or actually, I'll do these at the same time. If there is any wrap-up, if there isn't, you're just going to see the antique store find. All right, I'll be back. All right, let's start with the socket wrap-up. I actually did have a couple of Penens sockets, so I have to add to that a 1-inch. So we got the 1 1/8, I think, what do we have here? 1 1/4, 1 1/8, a 1-inch, and then we had that, what was this, 25 30-seconds, and then I have these two to add to it, a 3/4, and then this one is just a Challenger, so it doesn't really go with it, but it's got the same little shamrock on there and everything, 11/16. So I could put it in there with that set. So we got a nice little set going on there. All right, antique store find. That's this stuff right here. So I paid $5 for this bag. And the stuff in here in the bag is just foreign stuff. Nothing too crazy. This isn't anything too crazy either. Just some old Oxwall USA. I think these are. Little socket set there. Nothing too crazy. These two sockets are, kind of just bonus. Kind of cool. V. Craftsman 7/16, 1/4 inch. That's the older V. 6-point. This is kind of cool. This is probably worth the $5 that I paid for it right here too. It may not look like it, but it's a Proto, and it looks like it's never been used. Brand new. And that one, there you go. You got the little star on there for the detent. So that is cool. Proto USA. It's not a professional, just a regular USA, but I bet you right there you can't get one of those for under $5. So that's cool, but why I bought it was this right here. And this is sweet, in excellent shape. You already know what it is. It's an SK 40954 spinner. Probably too nice for me because I already ruined it. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, you can see how this is kind of greened out here. because I sprayed it with something just to give it a quick little wipe down. And what I didn't know is that this is paint in here. It's not just the white paint taken away so you can see the green behind it. They actually filled in the grooves here of this SK tool made in USA and the part number. So I sprayed this with some glass cleaner and wiped it. And yeah, big no-no. Don't do that. I don't know what you should use to clean it. Probably a very mild soap. But as you can see, I took some of that paint from up out of there, and it kind of smeared over onto the white and kind of made the white a little green. It didn't come out of the number that much, but more on the SK. You can see that. So yeah, just a word of advice, just be careful what you spray on these screwdrivers. You don't want to ruin them like I did. I mean, this thing was mint, and I just took it from mint to not so mint, so I don't know. But that was definitely worth the $5 that I paid for that. So, all right, next week I'll get a video I think that I already recorded, and that is a thrift store video, a bunch of sockets and some other drivers. And then after that, I got another video to tie into that thrift store, some additions, some things that I missed the first time around, you know, digging through those bins of sockets. So found a little bit more stuff, and then I got some auctions coming up. So again, sorry for the long pause in there, but I'm back. I'll try to get some videos out once a week here again. So what do you think? Did I do a good job? I don't know. I don't think I did that bad. Like, subscribe. Have a good one.